Jim Harbaugh again. Had a good week statistically last week. Nevertheless, the Bears lost to the Packers. The line in front of him will have Covert, Bortz, Hilgenberg, Thayer, and Van Horn. And in the tight end, James Thornton will alternate with Cat Bozo. Anderson and Muster, the runners. Davis and Gentry start at the wide receiver spots. First down, Bears, their own 21. A lot of things going on today around the NFL as Harbaugh scrambles out. He's cut down at about the 26 after a gain of 4 by Charles Haley. The defense, they play 3 up front. Here's Hope, the ex-Giant, Jim Burt, the nose tackle, Kevin Fagan, the other end. Haley rushes a lot. He's listed as a linebacker with Millen, Walter, and Romanowski. Secondary is Pollard and Griffin at the corners, and Lawton Brooks, the safety man. Olmo and Jackson come in when the Bears go to their wide receiver package. 2nd and 6 at the 26. Gentry is the move man. Neil Anderson by Pierce Holt. There's a guy, John Madden, who's had a Pro Bowl year, who's not going to the Pro Bowl.
Well, he's the type of guy that he's in his 2nd year now, and he came in as a 26-year-old rookie and was a real pleasant surprise for him last year. It was a good pass rusher. This year he's learned to play the run, and now he's a complete defensive end.
John McVay, who handles the football operations for the 49ers, said around the league they laughed at us when we drafted Pierce Holt. Everyone thought he was too old. He was painting houses. Now he's sacking quarterbacks. 3rd down. Pass is picked off by Don Griffin. Bounced off Ron Morris.
That was the type of thing we were talking about that the Bears didn't need. They come in, they've lost 5 games. Their confidence level is really down. The only chance they have is maybe building up a little confidence within the game. When they throw a pass, the thing is tipped, and now the 49ers start off with the ball with Joe Montana, quarterback, on the 35-yard line.
Don Griffin, who made the interception after it bounced off the hands of Morris. It's Craig and Rathman behind Montana. Roger Craig goes in motion. Roger Craig has the pass from Montana. Montana, the best in the NFL this year and the best ever in quarterback rating. He can set an all-time record today, and he just took 1 stride in that direction. In front of him, Harris, McIntyre, Sapolo, Bruce Collie, and Harris Barton with the tight end Brent Jones. Reagan Rathman, 2 more weapons behind him, and Jerry Rice and Mike Wilson as they bring out the chains to measure. See if they got the completion. They did get the completion. See if they got the first down from Montana to Craig. Yes. Exactly 10. Right in the middle of the ball, in fact. Those are staggering figures.
And have you ever seen a guy do it so effortlessly? I mean, he looks like he plays on a different plane. Other quarterbacks are nervous. They're jumping around, yelling, screaming, shouting. He just goes boom and just does these things like it's just another walk in the park.
2 tight ends down, Jones and Walls. Craig gets the handoff. High steps it out of a couple of tackles, goes out of bounds, but picked up 5 yards nevertheless. The Bear defense, not what it was. Armstrong and Richard Dent. The ends, McMichael and Dick Shapura, the tackles. Rivera, Singletary, and Roper. Singletary headed for the Pro Bowl. The secondary, Lynch and Jackson on the corners. Tate and Duerson back after a 3 weeks sabbatical with an injury. Jerry Rice is split out wide to the right. Craig goes to the left. The handoff is to Rathman. First down, 49ers inside the Bear 15.
Yeah, Yeah, that's what the 49ers want to get back to. They did it last week, a little more running. You know, Joe Montana said if there was anything different about this year, he felt that he had to pass the ball more than he did in the past, and their running game wasn't what it was. And last week they had a big running game, and they would like to get back to that again today going into the playoffs.
Montana to throw it. Off the hands of Jerry Rice. Pittsburgh beat Tampa Bay 31-22. The Steelers are still alive in their quest for the playoffs. New Orleans eliminated the Colts 34-6. What a job John Fourcade has done in the last 3 weeks.
You know, there's a couple of teams that aren't going to be in the playoffs that were playing very well at the end of the year. The New Orleans Saints was one. The Washington Redskins were the other one.
Break left side. Picked up 2 to about the 11. Stopped by Steve McMichael. Green Bay beat Dallas, and they are still alive. The Packers, I mean. Dallas is still alive, but not for playoff votes.
The only thing they have to look forward to is the draft, and that's no big thing either because they've already given away their first-round draft pick in that supplemental draft, so they don't even get the first pick in the draft, and they had a terrible season.
Like Atlanta might get that. Here's Montana. Quickly. And no penalty flag goes down in the direction of Mike Wilson, who tripped up. And was tripped up by Duerson, but no marker down.
Yeah, we see him out there on Vesty Jackson. You see him come to the inside. Duerson hits him there and knocked him down. The officials just didn't see that one. That was a penalty. After 5 yards, of course, you can't do that. Dave Duerson was just waiting right in there for that slant pass. That's really the 49ers' favorite type of pass. Duerson waited for it. He knocked him down. The official didn't see it.
Barry Helton, who's the punter, will hold for Mike Kofer from 29 yards out. That's got plenty of height, plenty of distance, and the 49ers lead.
You know, that's the thing the 49ers have always been good at over the years, is taking the ball and scoring on their first drive. You know, they always had the first 25 plays scripted, but since George Seifert has taken over, they've even become a better second quarter team. You know, they used to be a great first quarter team. Then they would kind of put it in drive for a while.
John, this is your home in this area. You have observed the 49ers. What's the difference between the 49er team under George Seifert than it was under Bill Walsh? Any?
Yeah, I think the players are more relaxed. I think they maybe enjoying the game a little more, and I don't think they're as talented as last year's team was. They had a lot of injuries. You know, people forget that you know, everyone says, well, this team, the Bears, are down because they had a lot of guys hurt. The 49ers have had a lot of guys hurt, and I think that's the best adjustment they've made is having injured players and still playing on a very high level. And I think the other difference is you know, getting a Matt Millen and a Jim Burt, you know, guys that played in Super Bowls and been in Pro Bowls, and they added a different type of spirit to this 49er team.
This by no way from either of us is a knock on Bill Walsh. He did a phenomenal job.
Well, yeah, I mean, 3 Super Bowls, that's great coaching. I think that is the difference. I don't even know if all those things are better or not.
Sanders, the Bears to about the 17. Tripped up again by Hendrickson. The scoring drive for the 49ers after the interception, 7 plays, 24 yards. Finished off with a 29-yard field goal by Kofer. Those of you who watched the Rams come from behind to defeat New England in New England 24-20 Welcome to Candlestick Park in San Francisco, where the 49ers have just gone ahead 3-0 with a 29-yard field goal by Cofer. Anderson on the move. Muster gets the carry. Here's Hope, made the stop. Sort of a homecoming for Brad Muster, who played collegiately at Stanford. Top draft choice for the Bears last year. A lot of people wonder, John, if he is ever going to be the fullback. The overpowering, the bone-crushing, the bruising, whatever.
I don't think he ever will be, Pat. I think he's going to be more of a pass-receiving type fullback than that bone-crushing guy.
This is Anderson. He can hurt you. Dennis McKinnon put a hit on Ronnie Lott, and Ronnie Lott had something to say, and I expect those two will get together again.
Well, Dennis McKinnon is one of the best blocking wide receivers there is, and when you make a long run, you better get Ronnie Lott blocked. I'll tell you, McKinnon laid a lick on him, and he laid a lick on McKinnon. What's this? He comes under, he's going to hit Ronnie Lott. That was a collision. Tell you, both of those heads snap back on that one, and you don't see that between wide receivers and defensive
Not very often. This is Anderson again. Chased down by Charles Haley. So now for an NFL update, let's send you back to New York and Brent Musburger.
All right, in Texas Stadium, the Green Bay Packers watching with 1 play to go and 1 second, and a Patriot victory over the Rams would have put the Packers into the playoffs. Rams need a win to get in. Back went Grogan. Man was open. Overthrew him at the back of the end zone. And now Green Bay must have a Cincinnati win over Minnesota tomorrow night to get in. Let's go back to San Francisco.
2nd and 8 at Candlestick Park with the 49ers leading 3-0. Anderson moves in motion this time, and Harbaugh goes back to throw it. Pass complete to Dennis McKinnon. Into 49er territory, stopped by Ronnie Lott.
Yeah, Dennis McKinnon is one of those guys who is really good at those last 2 things we just saw. One is blocking, and the other is these zone passes. You know, finding an area in a zone, coming under control, catching the ball, making a first guy miss, and make a first down out of things.
A gain of 21. They move to the 49er 41. McKinnon wide right. Morris left. The Giants win the NFC East. They beat the Raiders. Harbaugh out of the pocket to the 35. Picked up 7 yards. Stopped by Michael Walter. Kansas City beats Miami, and both of them are eliminated from the AFC playoff picture. In the AFC, the wild card picture right now, it will be either Pittsburgh or Cincinnati, depending upon what happens tomorrow night against Houston. Bozo on the move, Muster the ball carrier. Not enough for a first. Matt Millen made the stop. Help from Romanowski.
Yeah, I think that's the reason that Muster is not going to be, you know, that real busting fullback, because he runs a little too straight up. You see him come in there to the line. Now, the 49er defense played that run great, and there was a wall there, but those fullbacks have a way to get down behind, get underneath those shoulders, get underneath that stuff.
Is that something you can coach?
I don't think so. I think his legs are too long.
Third down, about 2. It's to Muster. He won't get it. Chet Brooks made the initial hit. He fumbled, and the 49ers come up with the ball. Brooks did it all.
There is one tough guy, Chet Brooks. He's a strong safety, and he's like an extra linebacker out there. He is going to do this whole thing himself. Watch him. He comes up, he hits, he makes the tackle, he knocks the ball out, and then it's right there in the ground. He picks it up with his left hand. You know a guy that's out there wearing those black shoes, and he got black gloves on now. This is a guy who is a hitter.
Well, he says that Ronnie Lott is his idol, so you know he's going to be a hitter, don't you?
Well, and Ronnie Lott says he gets a lot of energy out of Chet Brooks. He said this is a guy who is a different guy once he hits the football field.
Now we're reviewing.
Well, you know what the review has to be. Was the knee down? Was the knee down before he fumbled? Let's look at it here in the clicker, and we'll see if it was down or not. Again, Mustard gets outside pretty good. Chet Brooks is number 31. He's going to come up here. Now we'll see when the ball came out. You see, there the knee is not down. The knee is not down, and the ball is already coming out. So I would say that's a fumble.
That's a fumble.
We'll do it one more time. We'll run it back. Boom. Fumble.
First down.
Jim Tunney, the referee. And one of the best, as is Mike Ditka. Montana chased out of the pocket. Slides at about the 38. Gain 5. Rivera made sure he was down. Those of you who watch the Eagles beat Phoenix, Philadelphia will host the wild card game now against the Rams next week. The Eagles beat Phoenix 31-14. We're at Candlestick Park, where the 49ers lead Mike Ditka's Chicago Bears 3-0. Second down and 5 at the 38. Bragg. Knocked out of bounds by David Tate. So that puts our travel plans in order for next week, doesn't it?
Yep, we know that we're here today, and next week we go all the way across the country, and in my case on Highway 80 to get to Philadelphia.
As the Eagles will host the Rams in the wild card game at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia.
Of course, now I think we can congratulate the Giants on winning their division, and the Eagles and the Rams and being in the playoffs.
Well, they all deserve it. They say the cream comes to the top, and I think that's the cream. To Rathman outside from Montana. Stopped by Tate. That's the wild card game, which we were just discussing. The Rams at Philadelphia. They both finished with the same record, 11-5. The game will be at Veterans Stadium. We don't have times as yet.
Tell you one thing, it's a lot different playing back there than it is out here. I know that I think the Eagles out here would be a pretty good team. The Eagles back there are a very good team.
Well, it's due to get warm back there. Overdue. Montana down by Richard Dent. And here's something the Bears had said that they had to do: move Dent around.
Yeah, and if they are going to get a pass rush, it has to be from Dent. Now, they line him right up in the middle. You watch, he's going to come straight up the middle there. See, they lined him up as a linebacker, as a middle linebacker. He lined it. The 49ers had not seen that before. Dent is usually a right defensive end. He's up sometimes. Today, they're going to move him around and put him in the middle to blitz Montana.
Second and 17, and Dent thus becomes the Bears' all-time sack leader. Ball popped loose out of the hands of Brent Jones, picked off by Sean Gale. Gale brings it back just across the 50, and the Bears will take over. Montana took a pretty good shot. That's
From Steve McMichael. Steve McMichael just unloads. Watch him right there. he just comes and he's going to unload on Montana. Montana, again, missed last week's game with ribs, and he looked like he got a rib shot right there.
He may not have any ribs. Brent Jones might not either after those 2 hits.
Those were 2 hits that looked like old Chicago Bear hits. You know, Steve McMichael supposedly was saying that he would much rather play against Joe Montana than Randall Cunningham. He said Montana's just an old guy who goes down easy.
He didn't go down easy that time.
He went down hard.
That's Anderson. And he doesn't go down easy. Evan Fagan and Jim Burt.
Montana, he's talking on the phone to the offensive coordinator, Mike Holmgren. I think he's doing that and trying to get his bearings at the same time. They're probably talking about the first one. There's Mike Holmgren up there on the other end of the phone. I think they're probably talking about one, that last sack, but 2, the play before that, where Dent came from and what to do the next time they see him.
Well, as you pointed out, they haven't seen it before. And this is something, that is something more and more teams are doing with guys like Dent and Tim Harris, various others. The draw play is to Anderson. Just took too long to get going. And Fagan again makes a stop, a loss of 1.
The other guy is Charles Haley, who does that for the 49ers. He moves right, left. He'll line up in the middle. He is probably the best pass rusher on this 49er team. In fact, on that play, he came from the left side like he was shot out of a gun. He didn't make the tackle, but he was the guy who disrupted it.
Detroit 31, Atlanta 24. The Lions win 5 in a row to finish off the season. They start to look toward next year with a very positive attitude, I would think. Going to have a Bear first down. Chased down by Romanowski. A scramble of 12.
Yeah, that's the same thing the Packers did to him, Pat, last week. The Bears, what, you go 4 wide receivers. Now what that does is that spreads the defense out. Now once your rushers come up the field and your defenders go back the field, then you look what happens. The defenders are here, the rushers are here. If you break through here, you can always get a first down. See, Harbaugh sees that. He sees that he has 20 yards of freedom, and he knows that he can get the first down. Now, that was what Green Bay did last week. They put 5 receivers out there against the Bears, and then Mikowski would go back and just run on them and had a lot of success with that.
By the way, John, in that Ram victory over New England, Greg Bell had 210 yards rushing. The offensive coordinator for the Bears, Greg Landry. Anderson moves to the right. To Muster. Brooks and Walter on the stop. 6-yard pickup.
You know, we talked about Brad Muster, and that's the type of thing that he does well. You know, is in the passing game, the fullback in the passing game, and you know, getting in, getting open, you know, letting him run off, getting that underneath stuff. That's the type of fullback he's going to be. In fact, that was the type of fullback Roger Craig was.
Right. Now he's a halfback. Gentry to block for Anderson, and there's no place to go for Anderson. Brooks made the stop. Those of you who watched the Lions win their 5th straight, 31-24 over Atlanta, welcome to Candlestick Park, San Francisco, where the 49ers were still in the first quarter, less than a minute left. 49ers lead the Bears 3-0. It's 3rd and 8 Bears at the 49er 36.
That was the offensive line coach of the 49ers, Bob McKittrick, showing Joe Montana the way they were going to pass protect. That's okay. We'll get it next time, Joe. Don't worry about it.
3rd and 8 for Harbaugh and the Bears. To Anderson, who took a look and saw he had nowhere to go. Johnny Jackson was the first to hit him. Pickup of 3.
Hey, what that did is, of course, it stopped him and didn't get him a first down, and then it kept him about 3 or 4 more yards out of field goal range. So by getting a short tackle, they did 2 things. 1, they forced the Bears to kick, and then 2, they forced him to kick a little deeper.
From 50 yards to be exact, and now he'll go in the other direction. That's the end of the first quarter with the score. San Francisco 3, the Bears nothing.
The only way to travel is Cadillac style.
Now you can lease the Cadillac DeVille for as little as $389 a month. Cadillac DeVille, named by Motor Trend magazine as the best luxury sedan offered by American car makers. Special smart lease terms are also available on other luxurious Cadillacs to let you travel in the passing lane without leaving your comfort zone.
Cadillac, Cadillac, Cadillac style.
Left, straight left.
Last week's Miller Lite NFL Player of the Week was John Fourcade, making him eligible to be Player of the Year. Look for the next winner in Wednesday's USA Today, and at the end of the season for the Miller Lite NFL Player of the Year.
The best relief from this hectic season is a jingle away. Ring in the holiday in 30 minutes or less. Domino's Pizza. Nobody delivers better.
No tough sinus cold is going to sideline these guys. Congestion, pressure, maximum strength Dristan is tougher to sweep away congestion, pressure, and pain. And it won't make you drowsy. When you can't call in sick, call on Dristan.
Giving us these beautiful pictures of San Francisco and Candlestick Park is the Fuji Blimp, piloted today by John McHugh and Greg Plant. Fuji Blimp's home base is Weeksville, North Carolina. I'm not sure where his home base is, Jim Burt.
Well, you know, Jim Burt has that thing, that jersey that he takes to a tailor, and then he has that as tight as he can get. Then he has the equipment man tie it up. See, he has springs and he ties that thing because he believes everyone's holding it.
Butler, wide right. Far enough from 50 yards, but wide right.
Said Mike Ditka's chewing bubble gum today. This was the place, remember, was in San Francisco where he was walking off the field and he threw the bubble gum and hit a lady or someone here, and she was going to sue Ditka. So I think that's why he's gone back to the bubble gum in San Francisco.
Well, that's a little bit more dense and easier to throw, I think. 3-0, 49ers.
Hi, I'm Jay Hilgenberg of the Chicago Bears, along with my wife Lisa, our daughter Mara, and our dog Jensen. Wishing everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
And all of a sudden, I was just thrown to the ground. It's like my eyes were seeing, but my mind couldn't comprehend what was happening.
Just about everything we own in the world is broken.
Minnesota, Green Bay, San Francisco, the champions. The wild card game will be at Philadelphia. Rams and the Eagles. Montana. Rattler. Stopped by Durison after a gain of 6.
Yeah, I know that this is one thing that the 49ers wanted to do is there's a kid who's learning young that the Bears and the 49ers don't like each other. But I think they wanted to come out and get that passing game going and get it in sync. And, of course, they're playing without John Taylor today.
Rice is split wide to the left this time, right down in the corner of the picture. The handoff is to Rattler. Here's a guy who's really what do you say, matured, come into his own? What are all the cliches?
I don't know, but there's a guy who runs like a fullback. I mean, when you can run in there and you get a couple of yards and you come out with a divot in your head, then that's the way a fullback plays. I mean, that's the way the 49ers, remember, like guys like Visco Grgic and guys like that played. I mean, Gordy Salta. I mean, Tom Rathman, you run in there, boom, like a fullback. You come out, you got a big old hunk of grass and dirt and stuff on you.
He reminds me of Ken Willard. Remember him?
Yeah, I sure do. Number 40 for the 49ers. But Rathman is not only a runner, he is an excellent blocker. I was talking to Wayne Walker before the game, and he said that Tom Rathman knocks more guys down than he has ever seen in his life. And then, of course, he's a good pass receiver. That's a pretty good package.
Yes, it is. And that's a package that the 49ers have developed.
Hello, my name is Bubba Paris of the San Francisco 49ers, and this is my wife, Lynn. And
Madden, we're at Candlestick Park, San Francisco. Handoff is to Roger Craig. It's a play he loves. To the Bear 45, a big pickup of 13 yards. Craig is stopped by Jackson and Gale.
I'll tell you, that's the play that he likes, as you say. It's called 68 handoff. He says he starts here to stretch it, and then the first hole, then he knifes it. So he says you start with a stretch, and then you knife it. It's his favorite play. See him stretch his defense, stretch, find a hole, boom, then he knifes up the field. And if he could pick one play that he would like to run, that is the one right there.
First and 10, 49ers. Montana fakes to Craig. Going deep, and a man, Jerry Rice, who is looking back into the sun. That's not one that he would normally drop.
There's Jim Burt. They continue the maintenance on him. We saw him earlier. They were working on his jersey and tying that down, and now they just keep working down the body, and somewhere he just blew a hole in his pants. That's what happens to a nose tackle. You're down there. Boom, guys are hitting. Stuff flying off your jersey. Guys are holding it.
The low blowout. Rice goes in motion. And Montana again has the ball intended for Rice. It's over his head and out of his hand. Here are the AFC division winners in 1989. After all the complications and trying to understand it, Buffalo won the East yesterday. Cleveland won the Central last night in Houston. Denver has clinched the West a couple of weeks ago. The wild card game, either Pittsburgh or Cincinnati against the Houston Oilers. Depends on what happens to Cincinnati against Minnesota tomorrow night. Pittsburgh would play at Houston. Cincinnati would lose. Montana felt some pressure. Gets rid of it. A juggle. But I think a catch by Terrence Flagler. Pickup of 11.
The 49ers come into this game, Pat. They only have 2 wide receivers. So Terrence Flagler, who is a backup running back, is playing as a wide receiver. And that is a pretty good move and a heck of a catch. He was bobbling that thing as he went down, but that's why they play him out there. One, they have to, but they said that they, you know, that he does have good hands and moves well.
He had a great preseason. But as some of the 49ers were saying to me yesterday, saying to us yesterday, certainly he's good enough to play, but where do you play him? You have to take Craig or Rathman out of the contest.
That's the thing. So now, as being wide receiver short, then they can play him as a third down receiver.
Play stands, first down.
Minnesota must lose tomorrow night to Cincinnati for Green Bay to get into the playoffs now. inches inside the 30 to about the 28. Duerson made the stop, a gain of 6.
I'll tell you one thing about Roger Craig. He gets to the line, in the hole, and out of the hole very quickly. You see him, I mean, he has that high leg thing, but he has a lot of quickness to go with it. And he knows that you don't want to spend a lot of time in your own backfield.
I wonder if there's another athlete in any sport in better physical condition than he is.
I don't know that there's anyone that works harder year-round. If there is, it would have to be a boxer.
2nd and 4. This is Craig again. First down, 49ers. Craig stopped by Rivera and Singletary.
You know what he does? His training is basically running hills. I mean, he lifts weights and does all those other things, but basically it's running hills. And he said, whenever he's in a game, he said the biggest part of this, he said everyone has physical talent, but the mental part of it. He said whenever he runs a lot and gets tired, he thinks, how can I be tired? I run those hills. And he said, no, I'm not tired.
Plus, he has a great infectious enthusiasm for the game. He looks good going in motion. Penalty marker down. Rathman got the carry. That's the first penalty of the game.
You know, one thing, if anyone was worried that this was a meaningless game and the players wouldn't play hard, they could sure throw that out the window in this first half.
Number 50, of course, a very familiar number. If you watch professional football.
Offside, defense, number 95.
Mike Singletary.
It'll still be first down, still first.
Dent was the man offside. You sort of get the feeling when Jim Tunney does a game that everything is okay.
Yeah, that everything is under control, and you're watching more and more football where you get the feeling that everything isn't under control.
3-0 49ers. Right, John?
Well, yeah, he got hurt last week, and so they decided, the 49ers decided to hold him out this week, but he has been another big play guy for the 49ers. Of course, there's Eric Wright, who has been a great defensive back, a great corner. He has a groin injury, so he's missing today's game.
That was Craig on first down. Stopped by McMichael.
You know, there's two guys. If someone came here and said, what's football? And I think if you just put that shot there of McMichael hitting Craig, I think that's a pretty good idea. You know, I mean, guys that only know one way to play the game. I mean, a guy who's been there, you know, it seems like forever. This is his 101st game he started. Just a defensive tackle in the pits, loves to play football, battle around, that type of thing.
2nd and 4. McMichael has had an outstanding year. Montana. Rathman. There was no handle.
See, Rathman, he gets up and he laughs about it. That's pretty good. That, I think, is a confident thing. You know, that this isn't something I do all the time, and that surprises me as much as it surprises you. You can see that, you know, he came from Nebraska. Now, Nebraska, you get a guy from Nebraska, a back, he is a good blocker. And look how his pass receptions, they started teaching him to be a receiver, worked him in, and each year he has become a bigger part of the 49er pass offense.
And, of course, his backfield mate, Roger Craig, also went to Nebraska. Pass complete from Montana to Brent Jones, a gain of 7.
You watch Joe Montana, Pat, and it looks like he's playing a different game. I mean, there's nothing hyper about this guy. I mean, everything is relaxed. Everything is cool. The guy calls a play, and when he goes in that huddle, everyone in that huddle has great confidence that whatever he just called is going to work.
And it usually does. 1st and goal with the 8 for the 49ers. Craig moves in motion. Rathman hit behind the line by Dent and taken down by McMichael. Yeah, you're talking about Montana. And talking to some of the great tennis players, they know they use, in some cases, 9 balls, some cases 12 balls, whatever the case might be. But they know where all the balls are. Montana seems to know where everybody is, where everything is.
Yeah, and he does it effortlessly. I mean, it's not like he has a headache doing it. I mean, it's like he's calm doing it.
Mike Wilson was the intended receiver. Montana had the pass deflected, I think, by Ron Rivera. The coverage by Tate.
There's Vince Tobin, the defensive coordinator of the Bears, and he has seen this defense go. I mean, this really isn't the same defense the Bears had, and the Bears have built their whole team on defense. And I think when the defense slips the way it has, a lot of it is personnel, but then they don't have the offense that's going to pick up the slack, and that's probably the biggest problem with the Bears this year.
3rd and goal from the 7. Incomplete. He started to take off. Threw it in mid-stride.
You don't think Montana could get emotional there? He was emotional there. He was mad at someone or something. And that's you don't see this guy give a lot of speeches. You don't see this guy show emotion a lot. But I tell you, after that play, he did.
So Kofor will try a field goal from 24 yards this time with Kelton holding. That drive by the 49ers ate up almost 7.5 minutes on the clock. And Kofor again is high and through. San Francisco leads Chicago 6-0 with 7.5 minutes left to play in this second quarter.
Locker room to x-ray him. He has
by Jim Burt. I beg your pardon, Pete Kugler, who replaced Jim Burt.
Yeah, he's a regular nose tackle. He's had a bad back, and he's lined up right over the center. Now he's going to take a hard charge to the inside. See, Hilgenberg was blocking down. They were pulling, and Kugler came back to the right as the center went to the left. Hey, that's a left guard has to get down here. They put Hilgenberg to the right. They were supposed to bring Bortz down. Bortz ran right by Kugler.
It's a hard block, that cutoff block like that. Second down, about 12. Anderson goes in motion to the left. Harbaugh flushed out of the pocket. Now he's chased again by Kugler and tripped up by Kugler.
You hear the sidelines are saying, nice hustle, Pete. That's the way to go. That is great hustle. When you can get a nose tackle, line up over the center, and make a tackle on the sideline, that is a hustling guy. Watch him. He starts here. He's coming on a stunt. Harbaugh starts to scramble. He chases him here. He gets caught to the inside, comes back out, and he's going to meet him right here on the sideline. That is a nose tackle that's running around.
Harbaugh has 4 carries for 32 yards. 3rd and 3. 14-yard scramble. Again, he's flushed out of the pocket. And again, he gets a first down. Stop. Sounds like the same play, doesn't it, by Kugler?
Well, Kugler's a little fresh, you know. He's been missing games, and he's a regular starter. Jim Burt has come in and taken his place. Of course, he took Michael Carter's place, and then he got hurt. Then Burt took his place, and now he's coming back. So you got a guy who wants to get back in there, who's a good player, who has fresh legs at the end of the season.
First down, Bears at their own 34. Trailing 6-0. Anderson left the ball behind. 49ers have it.
There you see more and more of that. A guy's coming in, and as a ball carrier's running through, reach for the tackle, but reach for the ball and try and strip it out. and that's exactly what happens to Neil Anderson.
Fagan caused the fumble. Roberts recovered it. Half the Bears and 49ers with San Francisco leading 6-0. They just recovered a fumble, and they have the ball with Montana going to work. Incomplete, looking for Rice.
Well, Jerry Rice is a big play guy. Donnell Wolford, who's the starting corner for the Bears, is out, and they're playing a safety there, a backup safety, David Tate. I'm sure that's the first down gamble that they were looking for, you know, to get Jerry Rice, get him out there, try and get him in man-to-man, and get Rice on Tate. Of course, they get it, but Tate rose to the occasion.
And he has a couple of times he had. 2nd and 10. Brent Jones was the man in motion. Montana hit by Dick Shapura. Never had a chance.
Oh, we're going to see Shapura right here. He's the guy who gets the sack. I think Joe Montana, again, was looking for Jerry Rice. In fact, he was looking for Rice. The protection broke down. But also, again, David Tate had good coverage on him.
A loss of 8 as Trace Armstrong was there with Shapura. 3rd and 18. Backed up now to the Bear 46. Montana has to change ideas again. He hits Rice, who can't hold on. Doesn't hold on. David Tate again close by.
I'll tell you one thing, this Chicago Bear defense has one guy that they're looking out for in a pass play, and that's Jerry Rice. They know John Taylor isn't there, so they're playing a zone, but that zone is going to tighten up on Jerry Rice. And that guy that threw that hit on him was David Tate again. It seems like everywhere Rice has gone today, Tate has been around.
Mark Green is back deep for the Bears. Barry Helton to punt it for the 49ers. Green at his own 9. A couple of change of thoughts, none of which worked. Again, it's Steve Hendrickson down to make the stop for the 49ers, who lead 6-0. Tomorrow, Christmas Day. Sanders in the backfield now with Suey. Suey, the ball carrier. Perhaps a yard. Stopped by Romanowski.
I tell you, that Pete Kugler is playing very well at nose tackle, because he's playing against Jay Hilgenberg, who is a Pro Bowl center. Now watch Kugler here. He gets his hands on him, and then he just jerks him right to the side, right down the line, and closes that play where there's no running room at all. That's the way a nose tackle's supposed to play. Hilgenberg was moving. You get your hands on him, throw him off, make the play.
Already he has 3 tackles and 1 assist. As you said, Kugler looks fresh. Sanders swings in motion. Harbaugh back to throw. Chased by Haley and by Matt Millen. There's a guy, in fact, there are two players, Millen and Burt, who have really added a dimension to the 49ers, haven't they?
Well, you know, they're both about half crazy, and I think to play defense, you kind of start out like that. I mean, you have to enjoy football, and that's what Matt Millen does. I mean, he's one of those guys who just enjoys playing and hitting and those type of things. In fact, listen, after the game, you know, like most guys go out, go home, together. This guy goes back to the training facilities. He and Jim Burton, they lift weights and watch tape to the game.
If you get 2 half crazies, you get 1 full crazy. That's what they've added.
A crazy and a half.
Harbaugh to about the 19 again by Romanowski. A gain of 3.
You know, Matt Millen came in here to this 49er team and just started talking. He talks to everyone, talks to the players, talks in the locker room, on the phone. And Ronnie Lott said, and he made sense, and the guys listened. You know, during the game, in the locker room, he said, look, we don't need all the talk. Let's just go out and do it. You don't get in Super Bowls by talking about getting in Super Bowls.
Ari Buford back to punt for the Bears in the direction of Don Griffin. A good kick. Out of bounds. The 49ers will take over about their own 36-yard line. 43-yard punt by Buford.
You know, one of the things that Joe Montana wanted to do and George Seifert wanted to do is get their passing game in sync, and they really haven't done that, to be honest. In this first half, their passing game is not. Now, one of the things, of course, they don't have John Taylor, but the rest of the thing doesn't look real strong right now.
Are you surprised that Montana is playing this much, given the bad ribs and the weeks off?
No, I think their plan was to play him the first half and then into the third quarter. I think if there's no injuries or anything, that's the way it'll go.
Craig lines up this time to the left as a wide receiver. Montana goes to Rice. Rice, as he does so well after he catches it, runs so well.
He made that's a hook pattern. He made the hook, and then he made Tate miss him the first time, and then Tate came back and finally got him.
2-minute warning comes up. It's 6-0 49ers over the Bears. 2 minutes left, first half. Operation in Panama is obviously on the minds of many. And we extend our wishes along with those in the stadium here at Candlestick Park. Situation here is 6-0 49ers. 2nd and 9. Mike Ditka's Bears trail at the moment. Joe Montana has played the entire first half as the quarterback for San Francisco. The line of scrimmage is the Bears 33. Montana just does get rid of it. Smacked down by McMichael again.
I tell you, that's the thing that has to hurt the ribs is not only the first shot. You're going to see Steve McMichael come in and give Montana a shot, and it's not only the shot that he gets right there, but it's the next shot when he hits the ground. You see, you get the double thing. You get the hit, and then you get the hit on the ground.
That's exactly that kind of hit right there is what he was telling us yesterday, how he got hurt against Atlanta. Not when he got hit by the player, but when the player fell on top of him after he hit the ground. Third down. Slides to the 20. David Tate hit Montana along with Sean Gale after he picked up 11 yards and a 49er first down.
You know, this is why he's the best. You know, I mean, it's easy to say why it's a meaningless game for the 49ers. He has bad ribs. He's had back surgery. Why does he do this? He does it because he's a competitor. They're going to review this again to see if he fumbled, but that's the way players play football.
59 seconds left to play in the first half.
Hi, I'm Ron Rivera of the Chicago Bears. This is my wife, Stephanie, and my son, Christopher.
Hello, I'm Jim Morsey of the Bears. My wife, Amy, my son, Michael, and my daughter, Caitlin Ann, who's a week old today. We want to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Feliz Navidad.
And Happy New Year.
Highland, I suppose. To many. Alcatraz. What goes on there now, John? Just sightseeing tours?
That's all, yeah. There's, you know, they've talked about making a casino out of it, legalizing gambling in the state and making a casino out of it. Now they just have tours of it.
Roger Craig wrapped up by George Streeter, the big rookie safety man from Notre Dame, who Mike Ditka and the Bears have very high hopes for. Loss of 8. Montana deep, touchdown Rice.
I think that's the sink that Joe Montana was looking for and George Seifert was looking for. You got the best quarterback in football throwing to the best receiver in football. Let's see if we can get that thing on track.
It's like somebody brings a bomb to your house almost. You don't know when it's going off, but you know it's going to. Hooper's extra point is good. Montana to Rice. You've heard it before.
You know, the Bears thought that the one thing they wanted to do was get up and bump Rice, get him hit here. But the thing about that is you have to get him and knock him off because he's big enough and strong enough to get by, and then once he gets by, that's the danger. Watch him on top. You see, you go to hit him, but you miss him. So now he's running free. The safety looked inside. He gets in a bind, and Jerry Rice gets behind both the corner and the safety. That's that old seam pass. You put him up the sideline, you put someone inside him, put a bind on that safety. If I were the safety, I'm sure that's what Mike Ditka was saying too, I would look towards number 80.
So the 49ers lead 13-0.
And I'm sure that's what Ditka's saying there. He's saying, look, Rice is the guy. Why is that safety looking inside? The safety have to know when he's out there, go get Rice. When you take John Taylor out in the passing game, the guy that's going to hurt you on this 49er team is Jerry Rice.
Greg Landry was saying, when we were talking to him yesterday afternoon, he was saying a lot of times it looks like Mike Ditka is yelling at somebody in anger on the sideline when he really is just yelling. Not anyone in particular.
I think it's an anger, though. He can sure fool me on some of these.
Yeah. Whoever is close. Coming up at halftime, Brandon Irv with all the scores, the highlights, and the latest information from around the league. Dick Butkus has the touching story of a team that rallied to help some very special families. That's coming up at the half. Right now we look down from the Fuji blimp at the Bay Area, city of San Francisco.
I think as we look down, I think we're going to see Mike Tomczak is in there at quarterback now. We talked about Young coming in for Montana, but the first quarterback change is Tomczak.
Tomczak to Anderson, out of bounds after a pickup of just a couple, maybe one. Chet Brooks. Here's Greg Landry.
You know, you talk about coaches and people that are going to be back. I believe next year that Mike Ditka will be back with the Bears at least one more year. I would be surprised if Greg Landry is back with the Bears. I think he's a good coach. I think he's an excellent coach, and I think that he will probably be with another team, and that's just a guess. I'm just guessing now.
Brings up a 2nd and 9. The Bears at their own 25. Tomczak has his pass picked off by Jackson. And Jackson inside the 20 to about the 18. He returned at 16 yards.
You know, that's where these 49ers are so good. I mean, you know, we see Montana throw to Rice. We know that. But then they got this defense, this nickel defense. They got rookies coming in like Jackson making plays. Every phase of the game, they play well.
You know, you think about the 49ers, you talk about the 49ers, you talk about all the offensive weapons, you forget that this is a very solid defense as well. They're 2nd in the NFC, 4th in the NFL. They're good.
I know, and now Now with only 8 seconds, they got that interception. They're just putting their field goal team in now.
Kofor is hit 2 already.
And this guy's one of the best kickers in the league.
There are a lot of elements. The special teams are good. "36 yards away for Kofor. He fires another rocket. His third of the day. He's 3 for 3. The 49ers lead 16-0 with 4 seconds remaining in the first half.
Yeah, I think that's the difference in this game and in this season and in these teams. On one side, this side, you see confidence. And the other side, you see frustration. And that's just the way the season has gone for them, and that's the way this game is going for them.
Well, there's nothing like what appears it's going to be a 14-2 record. That makes you confident.
Well, it does, but, you know, they can't. Remember talking to Ronnie Lott in the offseason about the 49ers. He said, we want to do it like the Lakers did. He said, not talk about football and football teams that didn't repeat. And that was their thing, to kind of look at the Lakers, how they were able to do it in basketball.
Well, Ronnie Lott has been one of the constants. Remember when they came up with the 4 outstanding secondary players when they went to that first Super Bowl? He's the one guy who's been sort of the catalyst of the defense.
You know, they talk about Mike Holmgren as the offensive coordinator here and maybe a head coach someday. Other guys are maybe. I think Ronnie Lott someday would be a great head coach in this league.
Gentry fields the kickoff on the hop. To about the 32. Santa Claus and his ride.
Yeah, that's easy. I'd like to see the opposite. I mean, if you really want to do something, have an elephant ride a Santa Claus. Then you got a real Santa Claus.
Butler kicks off for the Bears to Terrence Flagler. David Tate made the stop as Joe Montana will continue at quarterback. A 21-yard return by Flagler.
You know, I think if you look at the half that Montana has, this is average or below a half for Montana. Again, missing last week, trying to get back in sync. But look at the season that he's had. I mean, that 113.9 rating is the highest in the history of the National Football League. But they've been keeping track of that thing.
That's up to date. You go back to the days of Sammy Paul. Montana has passed Bill Plum. Flag on the play. Dante Jones made the stop along with Dave Durson. Word on Mike Singletary, by the way, he will not be back. He went out with injured ribs midway in the first half.
61.
Has
Still first down.
gotten rid of the pads, so he won't be back.
There's an interesting story. That's John Frank. Remember, he was a tight end for the 49ers a year ago. 49ers went to the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl. John Frank retired, and he's going to medical school now. And he had enough of the football. It was a good experience. I'm going to go be a doctor.
Montana gets to Craig again.
You know, we talk about that quarterback rating system. No one really understands it. I mean, Joe Montana has 113, the highest ever, but basically this is how it works. Completion is 25%. You know, the completion. Yards and passing, that's 25%. Touchdowns is 25%. Interception is 25%. And then you put it up against standards and you come up with percentages, and then you come up. That's why it could be over 100%. And that doesn't make any sense, but no one makes sense out of it anyway.
But that's about as simple as you're ever going to hear it explained. That's like who's going to be in the playoffs almost. Craig again jumps out of the arms of one tackler. Trace Armstrong was the first man to hit him, and finally Lorenzo Lynch make sure that he stays down.
You know, Roger Craig was saying yesterday that it's kind of nice to catch passes, to go in motion and stuff. He said the toughest thing you have to do, the time you get hit is when you run the ball. He said when you're a runner, it's like the defense is a mafia and they got a contract out on you.
And he's a guy who, because of his running style and his second efforts and his lunges and his high knee action and whatever, who does take a lot of hits. Purdue. Rathman. Picked up 9. That won't be enough for a first, however.
Hey, that's the thing. When you start watching, now, when you start watching Craig, that's the thing Rathman can do. You know, they move Craig. Everyone watches Craig, and boom, they just pop Rathman straight up the middle. You say it wasn't enough for a first down, but that's how these guys help each other.
Mark Green goes back deep for the Bears, and Barry Helton will punt it for the 49ers. They're the two guys who have added some spice to the 49er defense. Jim Burt, behind him, Matt Millen.
Take a full house to beat that pair.
Good kick. Mark Green fielded at the 8. Cut down at about the 21. Chuck Thomas, who does the snapping down to make the stop. Here, the event that you might not know of the 90 Pro Bowl starters on offense. Montana, Sanders, Neil Anderson, Bryce, Sharp. The ones you'll hear about. The ones the players know about. Zimmerman, McDaniel, Hilgenberg, Newberry, Slater, and Keith Jackson of the Eagles, the tight end. We'll run down the defense after this play. First and 10, Bears. Tom Zach is the quarterback, and he gives to Anderson. About the 26. The Pro Bowl starters on defense. Dolman, Millard of Minnesota, Reggie White, of course. That's the front three. Harris, Lawrence Taylor, Mike Singletary, and Chris Spielman of Detroit, the linebackers. And the secondary, Gray and Carl Lee. The cornerbacks, Browner and Ronnie Lott of the 49ers. And the specialists, Rich Camarillo of the Cardinals, the punter. Murray, Dave Megan, who had such a big day today for the Giants. The return specialist, Ron Wolfley of Phoenix. Matt Millen was the first to get the hand on Anderson. And then Romanowski. Millen, well, they say he's a spirited individual, and he certainly is.
Matt Millen has one credo: you take no stuff. You don't take stuff from anybody. When he comes through, now linebacker can go parallel and read, or he can take a hole. Millen took the hole, and he said that was okay. And then Tom Thayer kept blocking him, and he said, hey, the play's over, enough of that.
Does he ever remind, well, he does us, I know, and he reminds, I think, everybody on the 49ers of Jack Reynolds, Hacksaw Reynolds, when he came here. In fact, Bronco, the equipment manager, said, hey, we got ourselves another hacksaw when this guy came.
Well, and Bert's about a half a hacksaw, too. In fact, that was the Hacksaw Reynolds number 64. Bert has one thing in his mind. You see, he was always talking about holding. He always has the guys hold him. You know, he thinks everyone's holding. You see, he grabs Millen like the guy was holding me. So you wonder what these guys talk about there in the sideline.
Third down and 9. Bears ball. Their own 23. Tom Zach, the quarterback. Anderson behind his two guards. Enough for a first down. Dragged down by Ronnie Lott. Pickup of 19 yards.
Hey, that was a good play, because if you look, watch what happens. Here's a 49er defense. They're all boxed in here. And see out here, Pat, they got a soft corner out here. There's only one defender here, so this is the area to run. Then you can pull both guards, and you can really get a power there. You see them, they lock them all in, pull both guards around that corner, and that's as close to a gimme as you get in the NFL.
They get a first down out at their own 42. Anderson again. He's up near midfield. Larry Roberts made the stop. Joe Montana, I would assume, an ice pack on his right elbow.
Well, you know, he's had elbow problems. In fact, he's had elbow surgery. And, you know, he'll get that thing hit, and a bursa will come out on that. So I'm sure that, you know, it's not something from throwing, although throwing irritates. It's probably something that just hit the ground. They put an ice pack and the pressure on it right now, and I'm sure that's the end of his playing for today.
2nd and 4. Sure looks like it. Bozo goes in motion. Again, it's Anderson. Very little. And Millen made the stop.
You know, here you see Don Griffin out here, number 25, and Gentry. And you see what they do out there. You wonder when the play's going on inside, what a defensive corner and a wide receiver do. They just stand that, what do you call that, chicken fighting or something?
You could.
No one gets hurt doing that.
3rd and 3. The fake to Anderson. Tried to lob it to Mustard. It was being covered by Romanowski. Incomplete, and the Bears will have to punt. Roger Craig with a gift from us for his cooperation yesterday and spending time with us.
Well, I think that's the end of Roger Craig's day. When you put on the CBS Sports cap, that's a pretty good indicator you're not going to play anymore. And then when you start taking off the tape, that's a guarantee you're not playing anymore.
You know you're not going back if you got scissors in your hand. Griffin was back deep for the 49ers. The Bear punt goes out of bounds at about the 21-yard line. 29-yard punt by Buford. Candlestick Park, as usual, sold out. We send our season's greetings as well.
Hello, I'm Spencer Tillman of the San Francisco 49ers, and this is my lovely wife, Rita, and my beautiful daughter, Lisa. We all would like to wish you a happy holiday season.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Arkansas battles Tennessee, the Mobile Cotton Bowl Classic, New Year's Day.
Announcing a new generation of owner satisfaction. We're so sure you'll love your new Oldsmobile. We'll let you return it within 30 days or 1,500 miles if you don't. Who else does that? Unlike some warranties, Oldsmobiles covers just one part. This is the part. Oldsmobile now offers roadside assistance around the clock, even in places where there aren't any clocks. The Oldsmobile Edge, there's nothing else like it.
Thank you, Aunt Martha. No, not believable. Try things. Thanks. Joel, pretend she just gave you a sundae. But she gives me stuff like this. Try again.
Hey, kids, look who's here.
Thank you, Aunt Martha.
You're welcome.
This Christmas, give something kids love. McDonald's gift certificates, just 50 cents each or 10 for $5.
It is a sundae.
It's a good time for the great taste. Joel, say thank you. Oh, McDonald's.
I forgot.
Welcome back to the Miller Lite All-Star Super Bowl game. Coach Wynn is on the headset.
Yeah, could you send over a pizza? What's the address here?
Uh-oh, it's the old Coochie way.
Coochie. Coochie to you too, ma'am.
Herrera has the ball. Touchdown. Was that the secret weapon? And who's going to win that case of great-tasting Miller Lite and go to the Super Bowl?
We're gonna get that cake.
Looking down at Candlestick Park from the Fuji blimp. Overhead. Magnificent day. Outstanding pictures. The blimp overhead. Steve Young is now the quarterback. Pass is brought down by Jerry Rice from Young. David Tate back there with Rice. But a 45-yard gain for the 49ers nevertheless.
That's a pretty good way to start it. Just come in, come off the bench, and just fling that thing as hard as you can, as far as you can, towards Jerry Rice. Those odds are pretty good in a jump ball. That drives coaches crazy. I mean, you know Jerry Rice is the best. You know you have to double him. So watch. He just throws that up there. He looked like he was throwing a javelin there. It looked like he could have hurt his arm on that one.
Rice has 4 catches for 101 yards now. Young. Flag on the play. Young down in the grasp of Steve McMichael. But a penalty marker on the play.
He was trying to...
Offense, number 85, is declined. It'll be second down.
85 was Mike Wilson. The 49ers only have 2 wide receivers, Mike Wilson and Jerry Rice. So they're playing now a lot of 2 tight ends and then just 1 wide receiver and alternating Wilson and Rice. Right now, Wilson's in there and Rice are both in there.
Wilson is left, Rice is right. Amy Williams is the tight end. A good blocker of the money. Not successful that time. Terrence Flagler, the ball carrier. Dante Jones over to make the stop.
The old offensive line, Jim Covert, along one of the better tackles in the NFL. Probably if there's any group on this Bear team that had a pretty good year this year, it was the offensive line. But when you have a year like the Bears are having, really no good comes out of it.
Well, they have one of the secrets. There's another key member of that offensive line, Jay Hilgenberg. Here's Young. To the 30. Dante Jones again made the hit. A 10-yard run by Young.
You know, Steve Young is saying that he's been trying to learn patience from Montana, that he's always been a little quick to pull the trigger and go running with it. But you know, when Montana goes out, I notice that it's tough for a backup quarterback. When you take Joe Montana out, the level of intensity in the offensive line kind of goes down a little, and the pass rush gets more severe.
So they put in Covert and try a 47-yard field goal. He's got plenty of distance. And it's good. Well, what a year he's had. So the 49ers move out in front now 19-0 in the third quarter.
Hi, I'm Dave Dewison of the Chicago Bears.
And I'm Alicia Dewison, and these are our sons, Chase, Treg, and Brock. And we'd like to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
A jet trade, beg your pardon. 15-yard return, the Bears will take over. Again, Philadelphia will host the wild card game against the Los Angeles Rams next week. At Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, the Giants won the NFC East. If Minnesota loses tomorrow night to Cincinnati, the Packers will win the NFC Central. And again, the Rams will be at Philadelphia next week in the wild card game, and so will John and I. Thornton on the move. Tom Zach still the quarterback. Headed for Thornton. Johnny Jackson was the defender of the Dolphins and Chiefs. The Kansas City victory. Both are eliminated from the playoff picture. Pittsburgh still alive. Their victory over Tampa Bay. The Lions of Detroit close with 5 straight victories. That one's still in progress, with the Chargers leading Denver 9-7. Second down at 10, Bears. Their own 22. Tomczak back to throw it. Chased by Millen. He had no chance. No one blocked Pat Millen.
Yeah, you see 76 bet coming off here, Roland Poitier. When Jim Burt came here, Roland was numbered 64, and Burt wanted 64. So Roland said, "What are you going to give me?" And Burt figured out that the guy likes his beer, so he offered him 5 cases of beer. Poitier said, "Okay, you can have 64. I'll take 76."
But the key is he hasn't been paid yet.
Well, I know Burt's cheap, and he's waiting for someone to give him the beer so he can give it to Poitier. He doesn't want to buy it.
Tomczak by Haley. First sack by the 49ers today.
And you think he's the guy that's going to get it. Charles Haley is right there. He moves left and right, and he's usually on the outside. He has good moves, good quickness. You see, he starts in Van Horn. He starts up the field, gets him moving, and then boom, he comes underneath. When he comes underneath, he's right in Tomczak's face. James Madison must have been good because you had Charles Haley there, and then, of course, you know the other guy they had there. Those could give you good defense and a good offense.
Line drive kick by Don, fielded by Don Griffin. The 49ers will take over at the Bears 36. Lynn Kozlowski to make the stop. It's 19-0. Terrence Flagler to about the 35, a pickup of 4. Dante Jones again made the stop.
They talk about the team of the decade, and that guy there, Eddie DeBartolo, the owner of the 49ers, really has had a lot to do with it, because not only a guy that brought in the players and paid the players and brought in the coaches and had successful, like a Bill Walsh, they replaced him with George Seibert. When they needed a guy, he brought in a Matt Millen, who was at the end of a career but had a high salary, and Jim Burt, who was a high salary, but they could help him win. Eddie DeBartolo would bring him in.
That's Keith Henderson. A flag on the play. Talking to Jim Burt yesterday, who had spent so many happy years in New York with the Giants and so many good years, successful. But he was saying to us, you can't believe how nice it is here. You can't believe how well they treat the players.
Well, in fact, Jim Burt is still talking about the Jersey we're in the second half here, and he's been talking about how tight. He wants that as tight as he can. But anyway, Jim Burt came here, then his wife had a baby, and they played in fact, they played the Monday night game here against the Giants.
Right.
After that game, Eddie DeBartolo flew him back to New York so he could be with his wife and baby.
A lot of reasons to be grateful if you're a 49er. Second and 16. Young back to throw. Gets it out to Jamie Williams. Gain of 5. Bestie Jackson.
Hey, that's his first reception as a 49er, and he's happy just to be playing. He got in last week and blocked real well against the Buffalo Bills, but he had come to the 49ers in the offseason from Houston, where he hadn't played much. Remember, they went to that 4-wide receiver thing. They didn't need a tight end. Then he gets hurt here. He's on injured reserve. Then he gets better. There's no place for him. So he finally got back last week, and he was saying, boy, is it nice to be back in and playing the game.
3rd and 11. Young intended for his tight end Wesley Walls, who just couldn't hang on, or didn't.
Yeah, Wesley Walls is a rookie for the 49ers, and he's going to be their future tight end. Right now, Brent Jones is a receiver, catches a lot of balls. Jamie Williams is a veteran who will block, but this guy here, Wesley Walls, is going to be the guy in the future that does everything as a tight end for the 49ers.
6'5" and 250 pounds, 246. They're happy with that draft choice as well. Mark Green back deep for the Bears. Barry Helton to punt it. High numbers. Bearcat single. At the 23. Punt is only 17 yards. 2:54 left, third quarter.
Hello, I'm Mike Walter of the San Francisco 49ers. This is my wife, Tony, and my daughters, Sarah and Allison. And our family would like to wish yours a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's. Merry Christmas.
Being a mini Super Bowl. Didn't turn out that way. Did for the 49ers, not for the Bears, but they have a great drafting situation coming up. It's complete from Tomczak. Wendell Davis. Draft situation for the Bears, pretty good.
You know, they've had a good draft situation, and then it can even get better. You know, if you look in they're going to have a first round and a 2 seconds and 2/3. So in the first 3 rounds, they're going to get 5 picks. And they're a young team. And then they hope that being a young team and then the addition of the draft, that eventually they're going to be back and be a good team again.
Muster, the ball carrier, on 2nd and 2. And maybe not for first down.
And I tell you, I still believe that Mike Ditka is a heck of a coach and has done a heck of a job. I mean, he's a guy who came in here and turned this Bear team completely around, made winners out of them, champions out of them, took them to the Super Bowl, won that, and now is going through some tough times. And with the type of personality he has, he's going to be vulnerable. And I'll tell you, when he loses, he's going to get way too much blame.
Look at his tie. He's got the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, that's a nice tie.
Got some trees on there.
Yeah, that handkerchief, I'm sure, has something to do with Christmas.
First down.
Looks like he's back to calling the plays, though. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Greg Landry calls him sometimes, and then sometimes Mike will take him away from him, and that's been a bone of contention, too. And we just saw him send in with Thornton that last play.
So it's first down, Bears at their own 33-yard line. A minute and 50 seconds remain, third quarter. 49ers up 19-0. It's coming with Gentry. 49ers saw it coming. Romanowski read it perfectly along with Kevin Fagan. Lost 4.
That is the most difficult thing for a defensive lineman and a linebacker. When the ball goes away, to get back and hold your ground for a reverse. And Fagan, number 75, did it perfectly. Played off the block. I know it's a quarterback blocking him. Played off the block, then got help from his linebacker. But those two, you know, you always say, when the play goes away from you, check reverse. And 90% of the time, they just go, boom, they just go run right across.
I'm sure you heard them yelling reverse, the other members of the defense, as soon as they saw it coming. Here's Tomczak. Bozo. Good throw from Tomczak. Johnny Jackson and Romanowski made the stop with a gain of 25 and a Bear first down.
And Tomczak has been a dilemma to, I think, Mike Ditka and the whole staff, and even the team, you know, that he has had moments when he's been a heck of a quarterback, and he's had moments where he looks like he doesn't have any idea. I think that's one of the problems the Bears have. You know, is he really a top winning quarterback in the league? Is Harbaugh? Do we need one? These are questions they have to answer.
A fake to Gentry. Fagan chases Tomczak, and Tomczak gets out of things. Gets it to Thornton. Excellent job by Tomczak that time. Don Griffin made the tackle. That's the end of the third quarter with the score, the 49ers 19.
The highlight by that man of Miller. The best comes shining through. The Gillette Apra Plus system and Gillette Foamy, together the best a man can get. And by Chrysler Motors, satisfaction is your right, and we intend to see you get it.
The Fuji blimp overhead, providing those great pictures on this Christmas Eve. And on the lookout for Santa Claus. Pilots John McHugh and Greg Plant. And all of us wish you a very Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season.
I just got a report from up that they said Santa Claus is just getting ready to leave the North Pole right now. He hasn't left, he's getting ready.
Here's Tom Zach. For Bozo in the end zone. And incomplete.
I think that Tom Zach plays a lot better relaxed. I mean, either, they're behind and, what's he supposed to do? I think that's the way. If he could start the game and play as relaxed as he is right now, I think he'd be a lot better.
There are people like that,
Oh, yeah, the toughest time to play is when the score is 0-0. I mean, if you're way ahead, that's easier. If you're way behind, it's what the heck.
There have been teams who've done it, They start one guy and let the other fellow relax, as you say. Here's the pass outside to Mustard. And Tom Holmoe was not fooled by anybody. No gain.
One thing, I think hitting is contagious. When you have an aggressive defense, you get everyone gets aggressive. I mean, you bring in a backup like a Tom Holmoe. He's playing in there now for Ronnie Lott. He comes in, he plays like Ronnie Lott. You get a rookie like Johnny Jackson. He comes in and plays like Chet Brooks. Chet Brooks came in and played like Jeff Fuller after Jeff Fuller was injured. And these are the things that a championship team does.
3rd and 11 at the 26. Tom Zach. Intended for McKinnon. Couldn't quite stretch it enough.
Holmoe came over and knocked his own guy off of coverage. That could have been a touchdown. This is funny. Watch Holmoe. He's coming over, number 46, and he hits his own guy, knocks him off the pass coverage.
By the way, with his 4 field goals and the 1 extra point today, Mike Cofer, who's 4 for 4, is going to lead the NFL in scoring with 135 points now. Of course, he could get more. Tom Zach. Incomplete. McKinnon and Morris ran the crossing pattern.
Maybe he doesn't throw so well when he's relaxed.
19-0, 49ers.
A rebate is a rebate is a rebate, right? Wrong. No, for the first time.
Who is through with his action for the day. Finishes this season in the NFL with a quarterback rating of 113.9. The highest of all time for a season, breaking the record that had been held by Milt Plum. Cofer has 4 for field goals, 4 field goals, 4 out 4. First and 10 at their own 27 for the 49ers. The scoring summary was begun by Cofer, continued by Cofer, then Montana to Rice, and 2 more times by Cofer. Henderson in motion. This is Flagler. Bestie Jackson knocked him out of bounds after a pickup of 8. Cofer hit a 36-yard field goal to make it 16-0. And then a 47-yarder to make it as it is now, 19-0. 2nd and 2, an 8-yard gain for Terrence Flagler.
Yeah, you say, what are the Bears looking for? Well, I think one thing that Mike Ditka feels the Bears need is more team speed on defense. Their defense has gotten slow.
Young back to throw it. Upfield to Jamie Williams. And a first down, 49ers. Stopped by David Tate. You know, Mike was also saying, in addition to speed, he wants some big, tall guys.
That's what he said. Heidi said that what he wants to do is look at the draft, just draft the tallest guy. And, you know, he thinks that losing a Dan Hampton obviously hurt. Even losing Al Harris, he thought not only hurt because it took the height out of their defense. Those were the two guys that you don't always rush, you don't always break through, but could get their hands up and bat balls and do those types of things. He says now we're too short on defense and we're too slow on defense.
Flagler in motion. Young swings it outside to Brent Jones.
One thing the 49ers have is a heck of a lot of nose tackles. The guy at the other end of this cast, or up from this cast, is one of the best in football. That's Michael Carter. He has the ankle injury. Could come back for a championship game. And you look at, you know, we've seen Jim Burt play there. We've seen Pete Kugler play there. But they still miss Michael Carter. And he is the heart of that defensive line.
Such a force. In fact, when you start looking around and you ask people who do you think is the best nose tackle, that's one of the first names that gets mentioned.
He was a shot putter. He plays nose tackle like a shot putter.
Wilson was the intended receiver. The pressure was on Steve Young from Duerson. He just didn't have time to get it there.
I don't know if Steve Young is looking at Wilson or looking at Duerson, but he's saying, where'd that truck come from? It's tough being a backup quarterback, and I think Steve Young has done an excellent job at that. You know that you have Joe Montana there, and if he's healthy, he's going to play. But if he gets hurt, boom, you're in there. You know, so you have to get ready for every game, then not play it, and then come back and get ready again. And then you get in a lot of these situations where the intensity isn't as high.
Well, you have to have a special kind of temperament. You don't have to like it, but you have to have a special kind of temperament. As he is chased out of the pocket. Roper and Streeter were chasing. Here's the quarterback production of the 49ers, and this is just remarkable. Success that all of them have had.
Well, it shows that, you know, that they have a good team. They have good surrounding players. And, you know, Steve Young has played some big games and won some big games for the 49ers. That's what a strong safety looks like after a day's work of hitting. Chet Brooks has ice bags, bandages on both knees. I think at the elbows, shoulders.
To the Bears. Again, the 49ers special teams. Out in a hurry, and Steve Hendrickson again. That's about 5 tackles he's made on special teams today. 19-0 San Francisco. Offensive tackle Harris Barton of the 49ers. Got a broken thumb and just had an operation on it, John.
Yeah, and you know, it's hard to scratch things and stuff when you got that. You always get that thing on there. He had hurt it, and they didn't think it was that bad. Then they found out it was, so they did surgery on it, put a pin in there, and he's been playing with a pin in his thumb the last couple of weeks.
He said it's tough for playing football, but good for hitchhiking. Tomczak popped in the end zone just as he let it go. The pass complete to Ron Morris.
Well, and Harris Barton has probably been the most consistent of the 49er offensive linemen this year. You know, they're using a different type of system. They alternate the other guys, but Harris Barton is one of the guys who plays all the time. He and Guy McIntyre.
And perhaps the most versatile of the group. He can play anywhere. Guard, center, tackle.
Well, he's in his 3rd year, and he's getting to that point where he's getting close to being an all-pro.
Pass from Tomczak to Ron Morris is complete. And he's out of bounds, knocked out by Don Griffin, a gain of 13. The Giants get a week off. They will host a playoff game. Bay would win the division with a Minnesota loss against Cincinnati tomorrow night.
The Rams, of course, they're in the wild card. We'll see them. We'll do that game next week in Philadelphia, the Rams and the Eagles.
Steelers still alive for the playoffs. That sort of slipped up on everybody, didn't it? Tomczak behind Thornton. Incomplete.
Yeah, this has to be the toughest thing for a team like the Bears that have been in the playoffs every year. And this is always the biggest time of the year. When you're a coach and a player and you're part of this, the biggest time is always the playoffs. You know, the holidays, and you kind of have to play through those. And that's the most fun in football. Then when you've been part of that every year, and now you're playing the last game, it's Christmas Eve, and you're not part of the playoffs, it's a very, very empty feeling.
Second down and 10. Bears at their own 32, being shut out 19-0. Tomczak to McKinnon, complete to the 45, and that'll be enough for a Bear first down. Stopped by Darryl Pollard. 13 yards.
I think one of the biggest decisions the Bears have to make is what they're going to do with Neal Anderson, because Neal Anderson is a big part of their offense, if not the biggest part, one of the best running backs in football, and his contract comes up. So are they going to sign him, or are they going to lose him? I know the people in Chicago and the players on the team and Coach Ditka all feel, give him the money and keep him here. Don't let Neal Anderson get out of this place.
He will finish 5th in the NFL in rushing. Intended for Sanders from Tomczak, incomplete. The order of finish. The rushing leaders in the NFL. Christian Okoye, Kansas City, beat out Barry Sanders of Detroit by just 10 yards. Eric Dickerson of the Colts was 3rd. Dalton Hilliard, who many people say is the best back in the game today, with 1,262 yards, and then Anderson is 5th.
Hey, I like Hilliard a lot. I mean, I think when you put everything together, he could be the best back. But this Barry Sanders has really been impressive.
Here comes Tomczak. And he finally steps out of bounds. This is about the 40 or 38-yard line. 17 yards on that scramble by Tomczak.
And the last 2 of it were a second thought. You see, he had the 15-yard scramble, then he thought, well, I'll go out here. Then he had a second thought, I'll take one more step, and he picked up another 2.
I think the 49ers thought he was going to run out of bounds. Roger Craig enjoying things, as he always seems to.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you know, his attitude has to be infectious. I mean, he's always, you wonder, when do these guys ever get down? Do these guys ever get headaches? They ever get down? They ever get tired? They always look up all the time. They're happy.
Tomczak. Pass was intercepted by DeLong, but there's a flag on the play. Ron Morris was the intended receiver. Here's a guy who was the 49ers' first-round draft choice.
Pass interference. Offense is declined. Interception. First down.
So DeLong gets the interception. Their first-round draft choice, who's been bothered by hamstring problems all year long. 5 turnovers now by the Bears.
Hey, you know, that's the kind of year it's been for the Bears that, you know, you try and get something going, you just get it going, and boom, you put your own fire out. As you said, this is a pretty good interception here by Keith DeLong, who was the #1 draft choice. I remember his dad played for the San Diego Chargers years ago. He was a defensive lineman, and a very good one.
This is Flagler. Brought down by Dewerson. He's the Pro Bowl starters in the AFC. Warren Moon, the quarterback. Hoy of Kansas City. James Brooks of Cincinnati, the runners. Andre Reed of Buffalo, and Webster Slaughter of the Browns. wide receivers, the offensive line. Munoz, Munchak, Donaldson, Matthews, Chris Hinton, and Rodney Holman, the tight end. Those are the AFC starters. 2nd and 15. Young looks left to Jamie Williams. Now the AFC's Pro Bowl defense. Smith, Williams, Michael Dean, Perry, the front three. Eric Thomas and Clay Matthews of Cleveland. The outside linebackers, Mecklenburg and Offerdahl. Inside, the secondary, Lewis and Manyfield. Fulcher and McMillan, the safety. Specialist, Roby, Treadwell, Woodson, and the special teams, Rufus Porter of Seattle.
You know, and the players always figure that that is the biggest honor they get. And whereas it seems like this guy here, Ronnie Lott's in the Pro Bowl every year, but the All-Pro teams aren't as big as the Pro Bowl, and that's picked by the players and coaches.
Young swings out to Henderson. Stopped by David Tate. Here's a guy. Not much was heard about Henderson coming out of the University of Georgia because he was basically a blocker. But they have very, very high expectations for this young man.
Yeah, because he could catch the ball. And, you know, I think anytime you're going to be a 49er and you're a back, of course, they like runners and they like blockers like everyone does, but you better be able to catch a ball. And that's one thing Henderson could do. In fact, we talked about the 49ers only have 2 wide receivers. Well, their 3rd and 4th was Flagler and Henderson today.
There's Flagler in motion and Henderson the ball carrier. Stopped again by Dante Jones, a pickup of 6.
That's one of the deals with these backup guys. You know, Terrence Flagler was a #1 draft choice, and that's the good news. Well, we got good running backs here, Flagler and Henderson. And the bad news is, yeah, but you got Craig and Rathman playing in front of him, and you never want either one of those guys off the field.
And then you have a backup quarterback like Steve Young to go with that package.
You don't want Montana off the field, do you?
No.
We want Bono. Bono plays here, too.
That's Henderson near first down yardage. Dante Jones again on the bottom of the pile. Maybe not quite. Looks like about a foot short.
Roberts, Jerry Rice. You know what those 2 guys have in common? Roberts and Jerry Rice. They both got the same kind of dog. They both got Rottweilers. You know, if there's a dog that is the dog of the NFL, it's Rottweilers. I've been checking, and there's more Rottweilers that players have and of any other dog in the NFL.
Don't you have 1 or 2?
Well, I have 2 of them too, but that's not why. I mean, that's probably why I check them. But that's data that I got out of a computer.
Unusual computer. Here's Young with the ball scrambling, and he will get the first down. Knocked out of bounds. Stopped the clock. Bestie Jackson knocked him out after a pickup of 2. 19-0. The 49ers lead with 5:51 left to play. Mike Singletary went out with bruised ribs.
It's no safer outside that pocket than it is in that pocket. You know, guys say, I want my quarterback to run to get away from it, or I want him standing in there. It's safer. When you got the football in your hand, there's no safe area.
You lose a lot of immunity when you come out of that pocket, too. First down.
Come out of it too much, you'll lose annuities, too.
Yeah. Tell you what, this area, this city, amazing. You'd never know that in September there was a very, very serious earthquake here.
I know, it's not a bad place. The other place right across the bridge isn't bad either, over there in Oakland.
Where you live?
Yeah. The Oakland Raiders, the Warriors, the Oakland A's, world champions.
Flagler
Terrence.
Picture of Ditka says it all, doesn't it? First NFL touchdown for Terrence Flagler. Hooper's extra point is true. I-44. That's the play. Bears 26-0. Hooper about to kick off. Gentry, Green back deep for the Bears. Candlestick Park, which was sold out, starting to empty as folks go home for Christmas Eve. A bunch of happy 49er fans. Line drive kickoff handled by Gentry at about the 3. Down at about the 27 by Spencer Tillman.
You know, an interesting thing, we talked about Joe Montana winning that percentage, that quarterback rating thing, the highest ever. He also had a chance today to have the percentage for the highest ever completion. And he just needed a couple more passes, and he fell short of it.
First and 10, Tom Zach remains the Bear quarterback. And he hits Wendell Davis. Yard pickup and a Bear first down. Out of bounds and stops the clock. Week 16. The NFL season of 1989. In many ways, it seems like it's gone very quickly. But not if you're a Chicago Bear, I'm sure. Green, the ball carrier. Pickup of 3, Hendrickson.
I'll tell you, that's Chet Brooks, and one of the first things he does after a game is call Jeff Fuller. Jeff Fuller, of course, was the starting strong safety for the 49ers, who got an injury and have some paralysis. And he always calls them after the game to tell Jeff Fuller about the game and how they did, and they're very close friends. And this team and this defense really missed Jeff Fuller.
Zach to Green. Official is down. There's what you were talking about before, John, the all-time highest completion percentage in the season, held by Kenny Anderson of Cincinnati.
And you know what happened early in the game? There was a pass to Brent Jones, and it was ruled a fumble. Then later they changed it and said it's an interception, and that knocked Joe Montana down to third place.
Second down. And 10. Draw play to Gentry. Gets very little.
There's a guy, of course, Matsui. This is his last game ever. He's retiring after this season. So after this game last week, they honored him at Soldier Field, and then during the week the players all chipped in. They bought him a rocking chair, and as Mike Ditka said, he's been a great Bear.
And he apparently in his chosen life after football is off to a great start dealing in the commodities market.
I don't know what caused that gray hair. You look around that right ear, see, and there's some, well, around the left ear, too, there's some of that gray stuff, and I don't know if it's a commodities market or it's the football, or maybe it's Mike Ditka that caused that. But he was a dark-haired guy a couple years ago.
All those years blocking for Walter Payton. Remember that game we did in a flood down at Tampa Bay when he and Peyton both had over 100 yards rushing?
Yeah, he would block for Peyton, and Peyton would block for him. Matsui was a very unselfish player.
And off to Green. Stopped by Larry Roberts after a gain of 7. 4 minutes left to play. The season, the game wind down.
There's a guy in the white jacket right there, Tim McKyer, who is one of the top defenders of the 49ers, who is also out with a groin injury. So these guys have some players on the sidelines and on the field, and these fans that are staying here are just giving them, I think, their appreciation for the year that they have given to the fans. But they know it's not over yet. This is just the start of it.
That was for the defense. Steve McMichael. Don't think it's over for him either. Flagler again. Right side for a couple of yards. Steve McMichael has to feel like the load has shifted to his shoulders on the Bear defense with Hampton gone. Wilbur Marshall a couple of years ago gone. Harris. Todd Bell a few years before that.
Otis Wilson.
And
then this year, refrigerator. I think that hurt their run defense. And today, Singletary goes out. And now, in fact, right now, the only regular in there is Richard Dent, who we just saw.
Flagler again. Chased down by Dent. Pick up a 4. Dante Jones with the assist.
Interesting, Kevin Fagan, number 75, last week against Buffalo, thought he played terrible, and he watched the tape over and over and over, and he said that, you know, he didn't play well, and the coaches said, oh, he was okay, and he kept arguing, no, he wasn't. And I think that's an attitude of a champion. You know, I want to know what I did bad, so I don't want to do it again. I don't want to accept anything that wasn't right.
26-0. 49ers lead the Bears. 3rd down and 5. Flagler. The coordinating producer of the NFL on CBS, Charles H. Milton III. Game today produced by Robert D. Stinner, directed by Sandy Grossman. The associate producer, Richie Zions. Associate director, Rich Nelson. Broadcast associates, Peter J. Macheska and Harry Wagner. Field technical manager, Jim Ripple. Technical director, Bob Brown. Charge of audio, Bob Siderman. Statisticians and spotter, Mark Barrow, Michael Frank, Carl Schlichspiel. And the executive producer of CBS Sports, of course, Ted Shaker. It's amazing what they do for us.
Wouldn't be possible without them. Those guys are like the reindeer are to Santa Claus's sleigh.
And they're just getting ready to take off. Green got one vicious block by Richard Dent. Again, remember to join us tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern Time when CBS Sports presents the Christmas Winter Sports Special featuring the World Junior Figure Skating Championships from Colorado Springs and a report on this season's World Cup skiing circuit. At 3:30 Eastern Time, it's the NBA on CBS as we continue with the Cleveland Cavaliers traveling to Atlanta to take on Dominique Wilkins, the Atlanta Hawks. Christmas Day. We hope you have a great day tomorrow. I'm Zach. For Morris, who attempted the one-handed catch, didn't make it.
jacket. Tina Turner, been the starting linebacker for years for the 49ers. Again, an injured player. Then those are two ex-49ers who were next to him. Two great ones. R.C. Owens, right there with the red sweater hanging out there, and Billy Wilson. R.C. Owens, he was the guy that they named the alley-oop by.
Right. From Y.A. Tittle, who's also at the game today. Here's Tom Zach out of the pocket and down. Steve Hendrickson made the stop. We'll get the 2-minute warning. 49ers lead it.
Hi, I'm Kevin Butler of the Chicago Bears, along with my wife, Kathy, my daughter, Katie Scarlett, and son, Andrew Joseph.
From our house to yours, we'd like to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Harris Barton. Your mom and dad back in Atlanta, 3rd and 7. '49ers 26, the Bears nothing. Bears had the ball. Less than 2 minutes left to play. '49ers get a week off. Then they'll host here at Candlestick. Dennis Gentry. Knocked out of bounds by Antonio Goss. John, that pass reception to Brent Jones that they changed from a fumble to an interception affected Joe Montana's all-time quarterback rating. He's still #1, still remarkable.
I think the thing is, with that quarterback rating, we know that there's 4 things, 25%. No one, believe me, really understands that, so they can say anything they want. You just nod. Yeah, that's right, Montana. He was fast.
Wendell Davis made the reception. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the San Francisco 49ers and the National Football League is prohibited. Tom Zach. Tamaris. Still trying to get untangled.
You know, and watching the 49ers today in Montana, they get a week off now. In fact, they really don't, because they're going to be back Wednesday. Work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and half a day Saturday, and then the next week. But I think they're the team to beat. I think playing them in their record and the way they're going now, that they have to be the best team and the team to beat all the way to the Super Bowl. I think a big advantage is playing here. I mean, that home field, they don't have to travel. They get the week off, and you don't know what's going to happen, but they're sure in great position now.
While we have a moment, let's remind you that tonight on CBS begins with a 60 Minutes Christmas. There's a holiday treat waiting for you when 60 Minutes presents 60 minutes of good old-fashioned entertainment. Following 60 Minutes are Murder, She Wrote. Then the CBS Sunday movie, A Christmas Carol, starring George C. Scott. It's all tonight on CBS. Tom Zach to throw it. Tom Waddle made the reception. Johnny Jackson made the tackle, 8-yard pickup. Bears hurry it up. A minute left. Almost intercepted off the hands of Wendell Davis, and that'll stop the clock with 44 seconds left. Johnny Jackson almost came up with the interception. The final chapter this year for Joe Montana.
Well, I think it's fitting that this is the last game of the decade for a team that they call the team of the decade, but this guy has to be the quarterback of the decade. You can make an argument, is he the best quarterback in football? I don't think there's any argument. You can make an argument, is he the best quarterback that's ever played? And I would take that side that he is.
deep for Gentry. Incomplete. Darryl Pollard was the 49er defender.
Yeah, I think it's fitting the Bears send the last play of their offensive season in with Kozlowski.
The Bears, one of the teams that didn't go into the Plan B free agent signing along with Cincinnati. The 49ers signed 6, and 5 of them are still with the team.
Well, the Bears had an awful lot of draft choices, too, and I think that's probably the decision they made.
Contact outside to Gentry, incomplete. Seconds remain. 49ers 26, the Bears nothing. I think it's something else about the Bears situation. They have 3 players on the squad. If you look at Mike Singletary, 3 players on the squad from the strike team. They say in unison, all the Bear coaches almost, that we think perhaps we ask too much of Mike Singletary.
And he puts a lot of it upon himself. I mean, I think the more fierce competitor you are, the tougher it is to take defeat. I don't think you ever learn to take it.
Joe Montana obviously means when the playoffs start for them. George Seifert, you got a glimpse of, and what a heck of a job he did. So did Jim Burt after he came here. There's George Seifert. Much the gentleman. Score here, San Francisco 26, the Bears nothing. For John Madden, I'm Pat Summerall saying so long from San Francisco. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.